Hey, hi guys, and today we are going to finish this project whatever time it's gonna take because it's been more than a week. I've been working on this project and I think I know every bit how things are working and everything. So let's not waste more time and move forward to something else like Aave V3. It's a lending protocol, and I think I'm kind of aware of everything what's going on in this project. So yeah, it's time for me to just publish it and debug. And also, most of my streams keeps on breaking because I don't have stable internet connection. So yeah, let me add. Yeah, my face. So yeah, can I audio capture, video capture device? Okay, under devices we are going to use FaceTime and yeah. So actually I'm using a Mac as my secondary display, so I'm just the screen is kind of folded. Just for the explanation, I'm gonna keep on this video. So what we have done so far, so we have completed borrow logic where anyone trying to borrow from the system, it's gonna check some requirements like if the account is well active and not paused and borrowing enabled on that resources, and the amount you are trying to borrow is positive, then we're gonna check a borrowing method like is it stable borrowing or dynamic borrowing like variable depth borrowing. Then we're gonna check the user's value, like whatever the collateral he is trying to submit for the borrowing, and if its value is higher than the borrowing, then we're gonna allow like threshold value, let's say 60%, 70%, and then like threshold value like health factor, let's say, and then we're gonna just allow him to borrow. And for the after the validation, first we have to check the current indexes. We have to update that current indexes with the time and the interest rate according to the events. Then we're gonna transfer the whatever the tokens he's trying to borrow and get that asset into our wallet vault, like a token vault or stable or variable token vault. Then we are going to update the interest rate again because we have done some purchases, which we are doing here, like we are executing borrow, updating the current indexes, then checking the types of borrowing, then reducing the liquidity, transferring the tokens from the system to this user, and also it should mint where it is. Yeah, we are minting borrowing like stable token or the variable token depending on the user's demand, and then we are just emitting the event. Same as in deposit, we are gonna check some, there are going to be some checks like amount should be greater than zero, it should be active, it shouldn't be frozen, it should be paused, and we are going to check that supply cap is greater than zero, like whatever the supply we have fixed. And let's say we have fixed for this token we are going to have only 10,000 amount, let's say anything. Then if it's already full, then we are not going to encourage depositing into that system, and it's that only. And then this is the validation, and for the execution also it's simple, like updating the current interest rate, then transferring this into the vault, minting new tokens, asset token to that user, and then updating the interest rate again. And in update server we are what we are trying to do is we're gonna take the time delta, like whatever the last time someone deposited or borrowed something. Let's say last time timestamp from which for this asset, like let's say for with there was any kind of events like transaction repay or anything, then we are going to check calculate the time delta, and according to that time delta we are just going to calculate the liquidity rate. It should be linear, and variable borrow rate, it should be compounded, and stable debt is fixed, like whatever we have done. And for updating the interest rate, we're going to take total debt and total available liquidity from this year, and just calculate interest rate through this formula. Like there is a curve like this, like for up to 80% it should be 4% base plus whatever the inclination, and from there between 80 to 100 it should be like exponential. So like, yeah, this is the common Aave curve interest rate. You can check on internet. I think I have explained in past videos also. And then withdrawal logic, same as whatever you have deposited into the system. We are just going to check if it's there. Like whatever you are trying to withdraw is okay. Let me explain from the start. So whatever we are trying to withdraw, first we have to check that the amount you are trying to withdraw is greater than zero, and the reserve is active and it shouldn't be paused. Then we are going to check the user, like you have 100 USD, like 100 worth into the system. Then we have to check like whatever you are trying to withdraw isn't greater than that your balance in the vault. Then if it's greater, then we're gonna just revert it. If it's not, then you will be able to withdraw. And same here we have to update the state of the reserve, like indexes, calculate the indexes and multiply into that scaled balance which we have stored, and then return to the user. And after the withdrawal we have to update the timestamp and the interest rate, same as these two. Yeah, update interest, yeah, same. It's then validation logic. I was thinking that we are like, why not make it modular, and just write every types of validation into this folder. But I am thinking of updating in future, because Aave v3 uses this pattern, like every validation in one file, and every type of execution in another, storage in another, and these type of things. So yeah, it's kind of modular to modular in Aave v3. But I thought, okay, whatever we are working on, let's just focus on the logic, because file structure can be changed in future. Then we, yeah, repay logic. So you borrowed something from the system, then you have to repay to that system, and otherwise interest will keep on growing. So we are just gonna check like the amount you are trying to repay isn't should be greater than zero. It's obvious. And active pause is always gonna be there, like you are trying to uh, make any types of change into the reserve, like borrowing, what lending, anything. It should be active and not paused and not frozen. Like pause and frozen are kind of same. So I think I should change in the past. Okay, let me note down in notes. Okay, I will change it. Then we are gonna check like in what system are you trying to return. Like are you trying to return your stable tokens, like stable debt which you took like at 5% 6%, or the variable one. Then according to that, it's gonna be the same, like updating the server, updating the reserve, and updating the current state, and just transferring the tokens. And also there is this system, like let's say users don't know like what's the current borrowing index is. Like you have borrowed 100 USD from the system, and the indexes keep on changing like 1,000 times in a second. Let's say there are a lot of users there, So you want to be able to get the accurate picture, like how much do I have to submit to the system, so that I don't have to there should be any tiny balance which will keep on growing, and it will keep on growing in depth way. So what we are going to do is you just gonna pass, like let's say you have 100 USD, and approx indexes is 1.01, let's say like 1%. Then you can just pass, let's say it will be on a scaled balance, 101 USD, 104. Then you're gonna pass $110, and it will check like if it's greater than the current debt, like the debt you have in the system, then it's just clear out everything, and you will be safer side, instead just giving 101 USD to the system. Like it's helpful in system where a lot of transaction are going on, like in a second, 2 or 3, 10 or something, anything. Yeah. Then we are transferring the token, like the asset token to the to the user, whatever we have like took while giving the system, and burning the stable token or the variable token, whatever is repaying, and increasing the liquidity, updating the interest. Everywhere it's gonna be same, the formula gonna be same. And I think I will just gonna create another file, because we are using the same formula and code everywhere. Yeah, liquidation logic is same, nothing new. So yeah, I have to work on liquidation logic and flash loan. Yeah, these are the only two things which are left.